Last week I worked on budget. MBT's budget also. I think still on budget. Yeah. Plasma. I work on today on plasma. I don't know. And I have many things that I forget even.
Really? All right. Well, I'm doing pretty well. I am a little tired. It's been a long week already. Well, they kind of all blend together at this point. Probably like a 6.5. And
hello.
All right, Bina, we're just doing check-ins. I've been working on a lot of stuff. I've been working on the budgets. I've also been working on client relations, on policies, and I've been working on Z Collaborator and the grants and offering, exit communications and support. I've also been working on the client relations, and it looks like we might be able to start doing another $800 a month of client work. Check. Albina, you want to check in?
Yeah. I'm like 6 today. I've been working on budgets, voting forms, MBTs, and POPPs.
Right. Okay, so yeah, we have maybe it's attendance. So Albina was a little late. Albina. Also, we had 2 people check in. Check-ins, text check-ins. So text.
We have Asif.
So
Asif
and Mamun.
Mamun, yeah.
So they both checked in, and so they get points as well.
Yes.
So then the next question would be, who was in the schedule who was supposed to be here, but didn't check in and also didn't show up, right?
I'm opening now.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Schedule.
And for all those people, we would remove them from the schedule. All right, so I think that's pretty much it for our attendance. We still don't have our overall rankings, so we're going to skip that. So I think we're ready to do our evaluations and prioritization, or we can skip this and just go straight to our agenda, since it's just the 3 of us, like a buddy team almost. Oh, like Mozzie's here.
Mozzie. Hi, guys.
Can we add Manzi on the schedule? Because he's not on the schedule. Yeah, he's on the schedule, yes, on recruitment. I think I should remove recruitment.
Yeah, recruitment commission's gone.
Yeah, recruitment commission gone. I will remove him forward.
Let's make sure he's on the Jello team. I think he is. Let me see.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in Jello team.
Yeah, he's there.
Okay.
So Mozzie, you get check in now.
Yes.
Mozzie, can you check in?
Yeah, hi guys. I'm excited to be here after a long time, and I'm at 6 today.
What have you been working on?
Yeah, I'll be working on recruitment and MBT process and onboarding processes.
I think those who don't show up, I think I will just clear up the list. We have Nalabra is not normal. Kainat.
Yeah, we created a member team for Kainat with new guy. Yeah, I think she told you about that, Muhammad Hassan Akbar. And that I will propose in this session to get approved.
Can you keep Mamun on the section?
Yeah, because you checked in.
Checked in. Yeah.
Okay.
Like if you can't make it, it's fine. You're just supposed to let us know.
Mamun. We will just include them when they're going to be approved, Maz, don't worry.
Cool. So Mazi, for the recruitment, we really want to focus on, the processes and systems and the responsibility organizing for recruitment.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's you need to focus on the mandatory priorities. So let's make sure you get that set up, and you should be scheduled, 2 or 3 days a week for your schedule. So let's make sure you get your schedule updated, and then get you doing more mandatory priorities. And if you want to help with the recruitment, that's fine. But we do need to actually get you working on the recruitment, because right now you're still kind of more in training mode.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So do we want to do? Oh, also, Mazi, are you just doing text and audio only?
Yeah, text and audio.
Okay. All right. So do we want to do the full evaluations of prioritization, or should we just go straight to our agenda and desired outcomes?
Just go to desired outcomes.
Okay. Yeah, I think we already kind of have all of our priorities set up from the new moon, because since we've only been talking about at every meeting, it's just budget, 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 So we never get to anything else. So we already know what we want to do. So therefore,
I have a desired outcome is that MBT proposal I have.
What is this MBT proposal?
For Kainat and the new guy, Muhammad Hassan Akbar, that we have to invite him.
Hussein Akbar?
Hassan Akbar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so for me, the desired outcome would be to review new recruits and communications for in Kainat and Nilabra, etc., etc. All right, that sounds good. Next would be let me open up the full moon and get the agenda from the full moon. So we can add that in there. Huh. Oh, there it goes. Excellent. All right. So we definitely want to start with our, actually I was thinking about maybe we could change it up a little bit. Maybe we could start with the weekly check-ins. Timeline, and then also we could do this, do budgets, and that we should start on the budgets with Kainat and Nilabra. And then we had Hussein Akbar.
How about Teresa?
We can talk about Teresa. Yeah.
Yes.
And then we have
yeah.
our 116-degree budget. And then there's also the Cobalt invoice. Yeah. And then we also have animation that we want to talk about. This would be a priority topic. So I'm also going to put this over here, but we will put here, we'll put a seat. And then we have like other proposals. Okay, so I think this is a pretty good start. I mean, there's definitely a lot of things that are missing, but maybe we could do weekly priorities if we get to that. Does this look good? How do people feel about this agenda? Any other desired outcomes?
I think let me check if it is there. My desired outcome. I don't know whether reviewing a mandatory priority so that Margaret can understand on that.
Should we do that before or after the budget?
We did. Or maybe.
Yeah, for us.
Should we do it before or after the budget?
Or we can get time and teach him. Maybe if we it can just be other topics.
Other topics?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Well, it could be part of our weekly priorities as well.
Yes, because it is very important to at least let people understand the importance of mandatory priorities.
Yeah, but we will also teach them. We train them on them. We'll explain to them also in our budgeting sessions. Those who are not here also.
Okay.
All right, any other desired outcomes? All right, then. So let's well, actually, we always miss this section. 10 is evaluation desired outcomes topic review. So are there any objections to the topics and the desired outcomes? No. Okay, so we're gonna. So then the schedule of the session, we always skip this. How long we have breaks and everything. We want to try to do like bottom of the hour. Who's our timekeeper? Mazi, do you want to help with timekeeping as well?
Yeah, sure, I can.
Great. So Lucy and Mazi, just remember, like, at the 30-minute mark, we do 30-second stretch.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then at the top of the hour, we do, 3 to 5 minute break. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the goal would be to wrap up. Wrap up at we're starting at 5 would be like 4:40. Turning up 4:46, 5:40. No, 6:40. Okay.
Yes, it's good.
Cool. All right. Well, look good.
We are not yet allocating the time on weekly check-in.
No topics. We need to just put
Our
the
first topic is the weekly check-in timeline.
Weekly check-in. I don't know.
Oh, how long? Okay. This will probably take 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
Budget.
I think the budget we have already minutes for the budget down here. Budget process. Okay.
Yeah, 20 to 30 minutes. I see this could be like 5 to 10 minutes. Other proposals, 10 minutes. Weekly priorities, like 20 minutes. Okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. All right, so let's start with our weekly check-ins and timeline.
Okay. I think now let's begin first topic, which is weekly check-ins.
Okay. All right, so for weekly check-ins, we're going to do, I'm going to get a proposal of their timeline. So actually the first thing I'm going to say of the policy is that everyone must do a weekly check-in form to be quick, 1 to 5 minutes. And it's required unless required for soft stops and hard stops. Okay. My understanding is that this policy already passed, but if anyone has any concerns with it, we can address that now. All right, so I think the policy is fine. So and this would be done every week, okay? So let's go over the timeline. So let me pull up the timeline proposal. And then the timeline proposal is actual proposal. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is a proposal for weekly check-in time. So the weekly check-in form is due at the full or new moon or quarter moon. So we either can do soft stop like before the 8th moon, but I was thinking actually of doing soft stop at the starts. Soft stop starts at the full / new / quarter moons.
2 minutes on this topic.
Okay. So stop start starts at the full quarter moon. So that would be one option, or we could say the soft start starts before the 8th moon. But I was thinking that the hard stop would starts at the 16th moon. So the alternative option would be soft start starts 24 hours before the 8th moon, and then hard stop starts at the 8th moon. So this would be halfway to 8. Why would we want to do it this way? The main reason is the goal would be at the 8th moon really is when you should be reviewing and going over all of the weekly check-in data, right? Information. So ideally, it would all be compiled before the 8th moon so that you'd be ready to review it with the co-chairs. Otherwise, you end up having to do the work at the 8th moon, because then people would be still turning it in at the 8th moon because they would just be going on hard stop. So I prefer the option of like having everything ready for the co-chairs at the 8th moon, which would require going on hard stop. So soft start at the full quarter moons. So basically, you do your weekly check-in form at the full quarter moon. And then you have basically a day and a half. So a 116 moon will give you about 2 days. So you have about 2 days. Before hard stop. And then you have the hard stop at the 116th moon. What do you guys think? And then the co-chairs would oversee the review and tabulate the weekly check-ins, right, before and during the 8th moon. And then the outcome would be to set up a set of proposals and data about the current status of the work. Who is on soft stop who is on hard stop. And then the co-chairs.
Now I understand. This is going to be easy for co-chair.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be so much easier for co-chairs, and it's gonna make the whole check-in process like super simple. Like because before the midweek check-ins were just too complicated. So this is gonna simplify. We're getting rid of the midweek check-ins. The midweek check-ins no longer exist, and we're only gonna do weekly check-ins. Right? The weekly check-ins are due at the full new quarter moons for the previous week, and then everyone goes on soft stop if they don't do it. And then they have hard stop if it's not done within 2 days. And then the co-chairs at the 8th moon and maybe we could maybe we can actually make this a little bit more. So this would be like full, actually we do it like this, new/full/quarter moons. Boom. And then this would be
5 minutes on the topic.
This would be 1/16th moon, and this would be the 8th moon. Right, so the co-chairs would review it, and then the co-chairs would go on soft stop at the 1/16th moon here. So this would be the 1/16th moon. So if this doesn't get done by the 1/16th moon, then the co-chairs go on soft stop, and the co-chairs go on hard stop at the next full new full/quarter moon. And the co-chairs would go on hard stop.
Okay, Jay, what about like we have co-chairs that are not active? What happens if the co-chair is not even like willing to do the work?
Well, if even the co-chair doesn't work, then the next 8th moon after, everyone goes on soft stop, and then the next new/full/quarter moon, then everyone goes on soft stop. So if no one does this work, regardless of the co-chairs, within 2 weeks, everybody's on hard stop.
Or even if that they are not co-chair, can anyone volunteer if you are not co-chair to do work?
Say that again. I think Albina needs to mute. It's like echoing.
Oh, sorry.
Say again, Lucy.
I'm asking, for example, if the co-chair are not present, all of them, and like you feel like you should do it. Is it allowed if you are not a co-chair to do the work? Then you present all the thing like you are a co-chair.
Yeah, I mean the key is that the co-chairs oversee the review, right? So which means that they can assign someone else to do it. Right, so in that context, it is what did you get? You got shoes? Ooh, nice. Oh.
8 minutes on the topic.
Like $300 ones. She try this on. You like them more.
Wow. Okay, so the co-chairs oversee the review, but the co-chairs can assign someone else to do the work, right? And so therefore, it's anyone can really do it and make sure that it happens. There's no like, unless the co-chairs specifically request you not to do it. So in the context of if nobody does it, if none of the co-chairs do it, nobody does it, because it's responsibility of everyone to make sure it happens, then within 2 weeks, so this is the first week, from here to here is the first week, right? Within the next week, everyone goes on soft stop and hard stop, everybody in the entire organization. So within 2 weeks, if nobody does it, everyone goes on hard stop. That make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So this will like make sure that the check-ins happen. And again, the reason why we do the check-ins is we want to see whether or not the client work is getting done, whether or not we're doing the internal operations, what is getting done, and then we're able to make changes and work with individuals to make sure that the work is getting prioritized correctly. All right. So are there any questions about the proposal? Are there anyone who would prefer the alternate option I like using the 16th moons. I think it's easier on the global schedule. So are there any concerns with the proposal?
No, the only concern is just to let people know, you know, not everyone understands this. We can even take them through.
Yeah, well, it's going to happen. People are going to learn how to understand very quickly because at the 16th moon, which is in about another 20 hours, everybody who doesn't do the weekly check-in is going to go on hard stop. Does that make sense?
Okay, so the 16th is 20 hours from now.
10 minutes on the topic.
If you want, I can calculate the exact time real quick.
Yeah.
Do you want me to show you guys how to do that?
Yeah,
I don't
I'm a
know
bit
even what
confused.
Alright, so
I'm a bit confused, yeah.
1/16 minute. Okay, so we'll calculate that next. Okay, so let's do a little subset thing on this. That's gonna take it'll probably take us about 5 minutes to do the calculation. Okay.
Yeah,
Right, so but let's finish this proposal. So this is the proposal. And are there any questions on the proposal?
No question.
None. Are there any concerns?
My concern is just for people who are coaches to be active. If they're not active, then we just have to.
No, the thing is, I'm only one active. Zilu is not showing up, and me is it Mihedi or who?
No, it's Mazi.
Okay, Mazi. We can just step in and do. When I'm present, you can do, Lucy, because now if you can fall up and people are not showing up.
No, I'm always there to do it.
We need to just get things done the way we have been doing the midweek check-ins. With one coach here present, we do it.
Hi guys.
Yeah, we may. Hey, Asif, we may even want to consider having a process for removing a co-chair if they don't step up and they're not involved. But anyways, I don't think we should worry too much about it. But either way, the point is that the co-chairs oversee the process, but they don't have to do the work. So anyone can do the work. Okay, Lucy?
Yeah.
Yes, I know anyone can do the work. We cannot only get involved when we have budget there. We have to see really people who can serve the community without even getting any single coin. It's like people are not active because there is no money there is no bonus for that. When we have bonus, everyone is making sure that they attend the co-chair meeting, which is not good. That is why we just have to see the serious people who can do that.
Or maybe we should bring back the bonuses, which I'm also very
not
supportive
even really because
Not
someone like
the
Zilu,
bonus.
even with the bonus, Zilu has not been showing up since the first week and is almost ending the coach. So we just need people to just be present and work. I don't think even bringing back the bonus will help.
All right. So
yeah.
Okay. So are there any other concerns? Okay, so I mean, most of those concerns aren't really about the proposal; they're about other aspects of it. So, Asif, we're gonna finish voting on this proposal, and then we'll let you check in. Okay?
Sure, no worries.
So, no other concerns. So let's go ahead and vote. Lucy, you want to vote? I'm gonna vote yes.
Yes. Before I vote, I think we have 3 minutes over the topic.
Yes. So you're gonna vote, Lucy? What's your vote?
Yes, I'm voting
yes.
for yes.
Albina, I vote yes.
Yes.
Mazi?
Yes.
Asif, do you want to vote or do you want to abstain? And Mazi, what's your vote?
I'm not sure. Can I have the doc so I can go really quickly and I can vote on?
Okay, yeah, we can go over it really quick for you as well. So the proposal is for the new weekly check-in timeline. Everybody has to fill out the weekly check-in form, and it's due by the full new or quarter moon for the previous week. And then it's you go on hard stop if you don't complete it by the 16th moon.
Okay.
And then the co-chairs oversee the weekly check-ins, and this replaces the midweek check-ins. So there'll no longer be midweek check-ins, and there'll only be weekly check-ins. And so everyone just fills out the form once a week, and then the co-chairs review the data from the form, and compare it to the work that's getting done, and then make decisions from there. Okay, on each individual.
Great. Okay, I'll go for yes.
Okay. So that is a consensus. Let's go ahead and link.
Okay, Asif, can you check in?
Yeah, sorry guys, I was stuck in traffic. Ladies are always making their husbands to go late everywhere. Huh? So I'm sorry for that. And I'm feeling excited about this whole Cobalt session, and I'm at 7 today. Check.
So what have you been working on?
What have I been working on?
Yeah.
I just finished my my some stuffs, and today officially today I'm back on track.
Okay.
I mean, I'll send you my availability as well. Well, a Cobalt sessions or a Cobalt buddy team sessions, I will be available. Or Jello sessions, I'll be available at this point of time.
Okay, thank you, Asif. Jay, can you bring it?
Cool. So there's one other component that I missed here is the weekly check-in form, a weekly check-in form verification. So whoever takes on this responsibility will also go on hard stop if they don't verify everyone's check-in form. So the responsibility is very simple. You just review all of the form inputs and see who didn't do the form, and then put them on hard stop. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now we're gonna go over the 16th moon, and that's gonna take like 5 minutes. So are there any other
topic?
Say again?
This is the new topic.
Yeah, it's kind of like a subtopic, but yeah, we're gonna give it a new time, 5 minutes. Are
We
there
have
any
5 minutes now.
are there any other questions about the weekly check-ins and timeline? No other questions. Okay, cool. So let's quickly calculate the 16th moon. It shouldn't take too long. So this is going to be part of the Selenine calendar. So I'm going to go to calendars and schedule. And then I'm going to go to the Selenine calendar. Here it goes. Then we have to go pretty deep here. No one else is going to have to do this. I'm basically showing you how to schedule this stuff. Original meridian calculations spreadsheet, original sphere time calculations. So it's going to be this one. You typically wouldn't have to go here, but I'm just showing you how I calculate it. But we only have to do this once. Then we never have to do it again.
Two minutes over the topic.
Okay, so here are all the percentages. There's okay. It's going really slow. So we can see here is at 75%. Wait, where is it? Oh, no. It's not as. Oh, here we go. So it's 75%. It's 83.82. Right? Oh, wait, no. 75% is 67.82. And 25% is. No. Shoot. 25% is 15.48. And 75% is 83.82. I believe. But actually, I think that's wrong. So, oh, here it is, right here. This is it. Jeez, so silly. Okay, so the first eighth moon is at 25%, and it's at 14.64%. That makes sense, right? And the second eighth moon is at 75.5%, which is 85.91% circle phase. The third moon's at
4 minutes over the topic.
Oh my goodness, why is it 75.5? That's odd. See where it says 75.5%? It should be exactly 75%. So what is can you guys, it should be 80, what is it, 84 point, what is it, you guys remember?
Remember what? I don't remember.
All right, there it is, 84.8. So it's actually 84.8%. Oh, no, that's 74.5. 84.9. 84.99. No, 85.1. 85.2. 85.
How are we getting the percentage?
It's doing the calculation for us. It's a very complicated calculation. Okay, so here it is. It's 85.3. No, 85.53. No, 85.48. 0.40. 85.38. 0.37. 85.36. Okay, there we go. So it's 85.36 is the correct number. Okay? So that's the second eighth moon and the third eighth moon. So these are the eighth moons. So then in order to calculate the 16th moons, you would just take the eighth moons and then we would just do in between them. So this would be the let's call it the first 16th moon. Then you'd have the first eighth moon. Then you'd have the second 16th moon. Then you'd have the second eighth moon. Then you'd have the third 16th moon. And let's go ahead and give these a little bit of space so that they
1 minute over the topic now.
all right, I mean, this is going to take a little time to calculate this stuff since you wanted me to do it. We're almost there, though. So the key thing is that it's going to be, oh, wait, we have to add in, so this is going to be the new moon, right? So we know the new moon is 0%. And then this is going to be 0%. Then we have the first 16th moon, the first 8th moon, the second 16th moon, and then you've got the the first quarter moon, right?
Yeah.
Right?
That's
so
We can stretch for 30 seconds.
Oh yeah, so let's do 30-second steps. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, can continue.
Okay, so this is going to be 12.5. So halfway between 0 and 25, you just take 25. You take 25 and you divide by 2 and you get 12.5, right?
12.5.
So all you have to do is just take this down to 12.5. So it's going to be 3.8 maybe?
5. 3.5.
3.81? Nope. 3.805. All right. So the first 16th moon happens at 3.81. So where are we now? We had the 8th moon. We just had a full moon, right?
Yes.
So here we have new moon, first 16th moon. Then you have the first 8th moon, second 16th moon. Then you have the first quarter moon. Then you've got the third 16th moon. Then you've got the 8th moon. Oh shoot. Then you've got the fourth 16th moon. Then you've got the third 8th moon. Wait, no. Then you have the full moon, right?
Yeah.
So then this is where we are right now. We are currently on the fifth 16th moon. Then you've got this. Then you've got the sixth 16th moon. Then you have the third quarter moon. And then you've got the fourth. You've got the sixth, the seventh 16th moon, and then last but not least, the 8th. There's going to be 8 16th moons. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you have new moon, okay? And again, the new moon, so the full moon's going to be at 100% and 100%.
5 minutes over the top.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we're making progress here.
Yeah.
And so let's just calculate for right now. So right now we are just had the full moon, so we're going to be right here. So it's going to be exactly the halfway between 175, which is going to be 100 plus 75 divided by 2 is 87.5. All right, so that's what we want here. And it's going to be similar to this. So maybe it's 97.85 or something. Not quite. So we want 87.5. Going the wrong way. 87.5. So it's 96.5. 88.4. 87.85. No. 0.3. 0.2. There we go. That's it. So 195. Okay. So it's 96.195. So then we would just go to the moon page right here. And you can see right now we're at 98.57.
Yeah.
So then you would just have to calculate for 96.20. So if today right now is, and we want to go to UTC yet, so we're in UTC. So it's May 30th. And we can go, if we go all the way to midnight, it goes down to 98.14. So obviously you have to go to the next day, which is going to be June 1st. 89.57. So it's actually going to be another day. The June 3rd is too far. All right, June 2nd. 83. So that's too far. So now we're going to go up a little bit. 81. Maybe it's on the 2nd. 88. All right, we're making some progress. 86. So you can see how I just went past it.
Yeah.
So 87.65. So we're going to want to go a little further. 87.3 is too far. So it's somewhere in hour 7. It's going to be a little further along. 87.6. 87.3. So I mean, this is already pretty much close enough, right?
So we just need to put exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it
To
doesn't,
get
need,
the
it
exact
doesn't need to be
percentage.
exactly. All right, let's see if we can figure this out. Though. But I mean, I just want to show you guys how to do it.
Oh,
so you know how to
almost,
do it.
almost there. Almost.
Yeah, so it's going to actually be in the 8th hour. 5-3, 5-2, 5-1. So it's about there it is. Okay, so it's going to be June 2nd at 8:10.
Perfect.
June 2nd at 8:10 UTC, and that's 8 a.m. Okay, so that would be the exact time that they're due. So now we come here and we would say that the 1/16th moon, and this happens to be the what is it? This is the 5th 16th moon. So we'd say this is the 5th 16th moon, and it's at 8:10 a.m. UTC on June 2nd, 2018. Okay, so that's the exact time that it's due.
Oh, then it need a verification for all this.
Say what?
Okay. So we need to verify maybe all of them so that when we are doing midweek check, we will know exactly 16.
Yeah, and the other alternative is to do like 24 or 36 hours before the 8th moon. So then you just verify the 8th moon and then subtract 24 for 36 hours. So this would be the alternative option.
Yeah.
So I like the 16th moon because it's exact and it gives more time for the co-chairs to get everything ready.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
But it does add a little bit more work. I mean, you would have to calculate out the time, but we pretty much will know exactly the time. So this one's at 85.36. This one's at 3.81. This one's at 96.2. This one's at 87.5.
Yeah,
no,
and
it's
the
at
other
90.
one is at moon.
Wait. Sorry, it's at 86. It's at 96.2. We did it wrong.
Oh yeah, actually,
so
96.2.
Yeah. So yeah, we did it wrong. So it's the fifth 1/16th moon is at the 96.20% circle. So this is the actual moon time, 96.2. So let's double check that. 96.2 circle phase. Okay, so that's correct. So this right here is on circle phase. So we actually did it wrong. So let's go back to May 30th. 99, May 31st, 97. So it's 90. So I think it's gonna be. So it should be June 1st.
Yeah.
93. 94. What did I do wrong? Oh no, it's gonna be May 31st then. It's gonna be May 31st. Let's see here. So May 31st starts at 98. 95. Okay, cool. So it's definitely on May 31st. 96.7, and we want 96.20. All right, we're really close. Eventually, we'll have computers do all this automatically for us.
Mhm.
But it's just like right now we don't have a Selenium calendar, so it's like nobody besides us uses it. But hopefully, eventually, people besides us will start using the Selenium calendar because it's way better for global organizing. All right, so here we are. We're so close. 96.19.
2,
20.
There
So
we
it's
go.
May 31st at 14:43. So it's May 31st, 2018 at 1400 hours and 33 minutes. Or is it 43?
2 p.m.
Yeah, 2 p.m.
43.
So
Okay,
that's
so
the exact time people to fill the check-in form or to confirm if they did or to review or what.
That's the due date before hard stop. So everybody would go on soft stop at the full moon, new moon, quarter moon, and then they would go on hard stop at the 16th moon. So the 16th moon is just exactly halfway between the 8th moon and either the full moon, new moon, or quarter moon. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, the only other alternative is to basically do like 24 or 36 hours. You know, so I mean, you could even do 48 hours, you know. But this would just be an estimate, whereas this is like exact. So it's however,
yes, when we get to calculate this, we can use this one. If we don't, then we can use alternative one.
okay, cool. So alternative option use if we don't have the 16th moons calculated. So
Yes.
which one should we do? 24, 36, or 48 hours?
Substitute for 24 hours, okay. For me, I don't know the rest.
Well, no, this would be the beginning of the hard stop.
Yeah.
So the hard stop starts. Let's just do the middle one, 36 hours. That's not good?
Yeah, that's 6 is okay. Okay. Yes.
So you would just take whatever the 8th moon is, and you would just subtract 36 hours. You would take 8th moon and subtract.
On Saturday.
Okay, what?
2 p.m.
Cool. So, but for this time, we have it calculated exactly, and it's at 2:43 p.m. on May 31st, UTC.
Exactly.
Cool. All right. So that took a little longer than 5 minutes.
Yes, we have like 16 minutes
But
over
it was good. It was
Yeah.
good to get the explanation.
You learn a little bit about the Selenium calendar. Again, you know, the Selenium calendar is, you know, you only have to do these calculations once, right? And so and I'll go over this. It's not very hard, and I'll get it done. And then once we have it, we'll be able to list the exact time of the new moon, the 16th moons, the 8th moons, and this is all based on the percentage circle phase. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
and the reason why it's different from this percentage is because this is what's called the sphere phase. So the sphere phase, because the moon's not a circle, the moon's actually a sphere. The relative temporal velocity of time is based on spherical time, not based on circle time. So the circle time is just an estimate based on how we see the moon, not how the actual moon relates to the sun. Okay. So the whole Selenium calendar is actually based on the sphere of the moon, but the actual all of the clocks that exist, like all the moon clocks, are all based on the circle time, and there's actually a major difference. So we always use everything based on sphere time, so that it actually works out and makes sense. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the next topic, shall we?
You just need to go for break because you
at the
have
top
2
of the-
minutes at top of the hour.
Okay, so let's go on a break, and when we come back, we're going to work on the budget, starting with Kinyat and Nilabra. All right, so 3 minute
Yeah.
break.
Yes. I think we have like 3 minutes.
Yeah, 3 is okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I'm back.
Me too.
Okay, ready to let's
I'm
wait
back.
for Max. Okay. Let's wait for Asif. Give him 30 seconds, you can continue everything. Yeah. Okay.
I'm back.
Okay, I say wait for Joy. Come on, budget. Let's wait for Joy.
I'm back. I'm here.
Okay, thank you. So now you can kick off our next topic, it is budget.
All right, so Kinyat and Nilabra, does anyone here think that Kinyat or Nilabra it has good communications? So the issue is communications and English. Unless someone thinks they want to propose them to be included, the proposal would be that
I think
Kainat.
Kainat has good communication, but sometimes she has internet problem, so that's why she's unable to communicate.
I guess I didn't quite understand. What?
I'm saying that she is good in communication, but because of her internet, she is not able to communicate with us good.
Because of her what?
Her internet?
Internet problem. Yeah.
So you're telling me that you've had good communications with Kainat?
Yeah.
I'm quite confused about Nilabra because I haven't communicated with Nilabra.
Elabra is worse, even more worse.
And I don't know that whether he is able to communicate or not, because every time I've seen him on Skype chat, I'm not sure about his communication verbally. Yeah, I just had a chat with this guy, with this girl, Kainat. She seems to be okay, I think.
For me, I cannot say Kainat is okay. I think I remember when they have a bad team with Monty
And me.
and Albina. In fact, it was hard even until Monty left because the communication issue was problem.
Don't know about it, but
Even Alabra, for me, I don't know anything because he don't communicate.
All right, let's start with Nilabra. The proposal for Nilabra is that Nilabra does not communicate well and has issues with English and does not meet our criteria, our minimum criteria. Are there any questions about the proposal?
no questions from my side.
Are there any concerns?
Three minutes on the topic.
None. Okay. Are there any objections? Can we go ahead and vote? Let's go. Let's do votes. So, Asif, Jay, Lucy. I'm gonna vote yes. Mazi, Albina.
Are we going to put him on hold, or are we going to put him on out of the budget?
They're already not in the budget, and this would finalize it and make it so that they're no longer included until we have budget for different languages.
I'll go for yes. Sorry, yes, I'll write it. Yeah.
Let's see, Lucy.
Yes.
Mazi.
Yeah, yes for me.
Okay, so so that passes. So Nilabra will no longer be working with us. Are we missing anyone? So now we're going to do Kinyat. And with Kinyat, we have both options. So option number 1 would be to keep Kinyat. And option number 2 would be to let Kinyat go. But I think these are the only two. Can you guys think of anyone else? I don't think there's anyone else besides just Kinyat and Nilabra who are in this particular situation with the communications. So with Kinyat, for option 1 and option 2, option number 1 is to keep Kinyat. This would be to keep. Option number 2 would be to let Kinyat go. Okay.
You know the problem that I had here. If Kainat can come and just have even a time that people can understand her, it's even good. I think when you are looking for the job you have whereby you can also you have your internet, you have to make sure that your internet is okay, and at least even one day communicate to other members so that we know you are also active. I don't know how can we give.
I agree with Lucy. Let's give Kainat 1 or 2 buddy team sessions to see whether she can communicate. or if she's having internet issues, so we can figure it out.
Yeah, and at least she was active in buddy teams, and Nalabra was not so much active in buddy teams. So we should give her a chance, and we should look that if she can communicate good. If she cannot communicate, then we can let her go.
Yeah. At this point, I'm with Lucy that she should, have a solid internet connection.
6 minutes on the topic.
Okay, so let me just check to see her ranking real quick, but I think that we're pretty much ready to vote. And I also want to mention that, in my experience with her, I would not have her be part of the Jella team. So in that context, she would need to be part of the global team, and she wouldn't fit in the Jella budget.
MBT rankings, you check that.
No, I'm looking for the average actual pay ranking.
Okay, that one.
Why is it so confusing? I don't understand. Top average actual monthly pay hours spreadsheet, HR rankings, simple structure.
Just open average actual monthly. Is it not the right?
That's not a ranking.
Which one are you looking for?
I don't know why it always gets messed
How
up.
Ali?
What happened to the direct hourly ranking? Direct hourly ranking? Is this it?
I think what happened. I think we just link everything there, direct hourly ranking. You can check on.
No, that's not it. See that? You guys just got rid of it?
I don't know. Abdul was changing some names, putting different names. Maybe let's just see.
Well, there shouldn't be different names. It should be, and it's one of the most important rankings. So the ranking is very clear. It is the hourly hourly actual average HR rankings. Right, this is the one that I'm looking for.
Direct hourly ranking based actual hours. I think they changed the name.
Yeah,
Not the
direct
routine.
hourly based.
Which one is it?
Just at the top. Move at that. Direct.
This
Number
one?
3.
Direct, yeah.
All right. So this would be 151.
151.
Kenya. Okay. So she is ranked very high. If you guys think that she can communicate, I mean, I'm willing to give her another chance, but I'm still gonna vote for option number 2. So what about you guys?
Yes, we are going to give her a chance. Is she going to turn up and let us know? Because our friend Kainat being silent or is Skype, like, yeah, I'm training her how to do the work report. She's silent, and I told her, okay, do this. Make sure you come when your internet is okay. Up to now, how can we say? Let's give her. If she's not going to turn up, just give her 2 weeks only. When she's not going to turn up and communicate, no need of keeping her in the box.
So that's not how it works. This is indefinite until we propose to remove her from the budget. And she still gonna have to have a buddy team, and she's still gonna need to do work. If she does work, she does work. She doesn't do work. Anybody who doesn't do work should be removed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we don't remove Kinyat just because it's 2 weeks. We remove her because she's not doing work, just like everybody else should be removed, right? She should be treated like everybody else. So right now the question is whether or not she communicates. If in 2 weeks go by she's still not communicating, we can remove her because she's not communicating. But for now, she has to make a main buddy team.
Okay, which one are we going to vote for? How options?
Lucy, you want to vote? Lucy?
I want to vote. Yes, I want to vote for option. I don't know. Keep Kainat vote communicated.
You vote for option 1?
No, I'm going for option 2 because I've been with her.
Okay.
And
Asif, Mazi, Albina?
Option 2 with 6.5.
9 or the 6 also.
And Mazi and Asif, you're both doing option 1?
Option 1 and number 8.
Mazi's an 8. Okay, so Albina and Lucy, do you guys want to vote on option 1?
Option 1, I'm voting 5.
And Lucy,
I don't vote for option 1.
are you abstaining or are you 0?
0.
Okay. So that gives us, obviously option 1 has more votes. So let's see what it works out to. 5.5 plus 7 plus 8 plus 5 equal to divided by 4.
25.5.
6.3.
Still not pass. That's average. Let's say this. Read the Baba 6.
Well,
5.
I mean,
5.5 plus 7
it
plus
obviously passes a lot more than the other one. So
It is 5.1.
What's 5.1?
The first one.
Well, no, Lucy didn't vote on it. Like, we could just remove Lucy. It's only 4.
Okay. I got it.
So I'm willing to change my vote to a yes, which would be a 7. You know, because I mean, it just seems like this makes it's easier. If there's support for Kinyat, I'm down to support her. She's ranked really high as well. So 7 plus 7.
It will be 8.
I get 6.75.
Have you ever worked with Kainat, Jen?
Yeah, I mean, she's been at different sessions. I would prefer to not have her and get rid of her, but if people would support her, then I'm fine with giving her another chance. And Mazi and Asif want to support her, so you know, and Teresa wants to work with her as well as this other person. What's his name? Hussein Akbar.
Hassan Akbar.
Yeah, Hussein Akbar. Does anyone have Hussein Akbar's Skype?
Yeah, I have his Skype, and we were on Hangout with him while creating MBT with Kainat.
Hey, how does he communicate, Mazi? What about the Hassan's communication?
Yeah, he's good in communication. As I have checked his communication, he's really good.
Do you have Hassan Akbar's Skype?
Yeah, I have, Jay.
Can you get that for me?
Yeah, sure. I'll send it in the Skype.
What?
I think this is not the correct one.
That's not the correct one?
Yeah, just check because I think by this, just check. I'm not sure about it.
Mazi, when did you communicate
done.
with that person?
This look great?
Yeah, 3 days ago.
Yeah, this one I think. Yeah, Mazi.
Yeah, this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Mazi, when did you have a buddy team with Hassan?
Yeah, I was creating MBT of Kainat as she communicated with me, and she wanted help from me to create her MBT with Hassan. So we had a buddy team session, and we have all the communication in the New World Waiting for HR board group.
Mazi, is he from Bangladesh or India or Pakistan?
No, I think he's from Pakistan.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we are done. Any questions about Hussein Akbar or Kinat? So Kinat, we're going to go ahead and keep Kinat for now. And then Nilabra, we got rid of Nilabra and let her go. Hussein Akbar is brand new. And then Teresa is fine as long as she gets a buddy team.
I guess only question we have for us, Akbar, we just need communication. We don't want scenario whereby we just remove someone because of communication in a budget. Because just if you see that person is not communicating well, you tell him, just wait when we have the budget for that. The time come for maybe we have budget in future, we just include them.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as we know, Hussein Akbar should be fine. Right, so I added Hussein Akbar to the America's No Longer in Budget group. And then here I'll add Mazi in here too, just so you can communicate with them as well as needed. And then it's just a matter of getting either Teresa or Kinat or Hussein Akbar or whoever just to create a main buddy team, and then they can, get started. But it's up to them to figure out their main buddy team. If they can't create a main buddy team, then they automatically can't work. Okay, that makes sense?
So, Jay, I have a question. What about the MBT that Kainat and Hassan Akbar has created?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'll paste it on the doc, and then you can have a look on that.
I think, I don't know why. I think Teresa was to have a buddy team with the Kainat. What happened, Mazi?
No, I have no idea about that. I think Teresa just changed and tried to make buddy team with Joyce. And I don't know if they are able to create or not. That's why Kainat contacted Hassan Akbar to create MBT.
I think it was also because of the communication.
Yeah.
She didn't communicate earlier.
Exactly. Before even Kainat contact Hassan, Teresa was trying all her level best to get in touch with the Kainat, and Kainat was silent.
Yeah, I remember that too. So Teresa was trying to make a buddy team with Kainat, and then there's problems with the communication. So we told Teresa that Kainat wasn't going to be added as a option, right? And so we encouraged her to look for other options, but she hasn't been able to do it. Anyways, maybe Kainat communicates better with Hussein Akbar. Maybe they speak similar language or something. I don't know. But
one last question from my side.
Either way, we should give Teresa the opportunity to join with Hussein and Kainat and make a three-way buddy team. Like a three-person buddy team.
Yeah, for sure. That should be better.
Okay, one last thing is just don't get offended, Mazi. I'm just asking for the sake of, for the satisfaction. Is Hassan Akbar is well in communication or not? Yes or no? Simple. Is he good
Yes,
in communication?
he is good in communication, and I think we should give him a chance. And if he is not good in communication, then we cannot hire him. But at least we should give him a chance.
Okay, then. Because the reason is it will disturb all the MBT. You understand if he is.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
Okay, but there's a problem here, Mazi.
Yes,
We have a couple major problems here. So the first problem is that Hussein Akbar doesn't have a main doc. So can someone make a main doc for Hussein Akbar?
Yeah, sure. I'll make main doc for him.
Okay, then the second problem, which is even a bigger problem, is that according to this main buddy team, Kainat and Hassan Akbar, they didn't create it. You created it.
Yeah, because they were asking for help.
There's not any because
it's
it's totally against the policies and against the rules to create a main buddy team document for somebody. They have to do it themselves, otherwise they can't work.
Okay, I'm sorry for that. I was not aware of the policy. So if I was aware of the policy, so I was not doing that. I'm sorry for that.
Were you going to say anything, Asif?
I was just going to say that you don't have to create the MBT doc for anyone. The person who are involved in the main buddy team should create their MBT doc.
No, they have to create it.
They have to.
If they're not able, it's their application. If they're not able to create a main buddy team doc, create a budget, understand how budgeting works, and make an agreement with their main buddy team, they can't work with us. It's basically like our test, right? Like if you can't do that, you can't work with us. So you can make some main doc for someone, and you can give them the links and information to everything they need to know about creating main buddy teams, and they can ask as many questions as they want to, and you can answer all of their questions, and you can give them examples, but you can't do it for them. That's totally against the rules.
Okay, Jay, is it possible to call Hassan and Kainat tomorrow in the buddy team session so we can have a better idea about them? Is it okay?
Yeah, that's fine. But we just voted to, include both of them. So let us know if there's issues. But, in the end, what matters is that they can communicate. If people can get work done, it doesn't really matter if they can speak English or not. What matters is they can get work done. I mean, we've hired lots of people who don't speak very good English, including, Abdul, Zilu, other people who get a lot of work done, right? So it's just a matter, or not a lot, but, they get the work done that's been assigned to them, None of us get a lot of work done because we're all behind on everything. But overall, Mazi, so yeah, you can schedule a time to meet with them and talk with them. And then Mazi, you need to basically, delete this document.
Sure, Jay, I'll delete it.
Yeah, so everybody I know of has all made their own main buddy team proposals. I don't know anybody who hasn't made their own main buddy team proposal. And this is the first time that we're starting to do it with new recruits, and this is part of the recruitment commission, right? So it's like all new recruits for the first time ever are required to create main buddy teams before they can get involved and get paid, whereas in the past they've always been hired as individuals and then they create main buddy teams afterwards. So that's now changed, and it will be like that forever, right? Our policy has always been that you have to create a main buddy team before you actually get approved into the budget. But we waived that policy because we were so busy with EXA and all the other things. We just needed help immediately, but we don't need to do that anymore. Right? So everybody has to create their own main buddy team proposal, and then they propose it to the organization to be put in the budget.
So, Jay, can I invite them again and explain them how to create, and then they will create by their own?
Yeah, do you have the there's two documents. One is the main buddy team process doc. Do you have that?
Yes, I have.
And then there's the criteria doc. Do you have that, the criteria?
No, I don't have the criteria doc, but I have the main by team doc.
Okay, so let's go.
Okay, what is the time? Like tomorrow we have our new Cobalt, new all world, like today, which is Thursday at 2 p.m. our time, which is 5 p.m. If they can make it, at least it is going to be good during that session. We see them, we heard the way they communicated. We can take them to not necessarily only use someone else can help to see if they are willing or they understand. Can they join today? 2 p.m. 5 p.m. your time. 18. Mass.
Yeah, today or tomorrow?
No, it will be
For us, it's today.
12. It will be 11 a.m. UTC.
No, you
Thursday,
are
11
talking
a.m.
about them to join us in the Cobalt buddy team session.
In the old world main weekly session.
I don't know the time of that.
It is 5 p.m. 5 p.m. 18.
American time. Okay, 5 p.m. American time.
No, 5 a.m.
No.
American time. 5 p.m. UTC
UTC plus 6 will be 5 p.m.
That'd be Asia time. So 5 a.m.
Asia
America's time, 5 p.m. Asia time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'll try to contact them, and I will get to know that if they can make it. So I'll inform you guys.
Yeah, it will also help them to learn more. If they show up, we can help them.
Yeah.
We see where the problem is.
Yeah, sure. I will ask them.
Cool. And just to remind you all that they, until they do their main buddy team proposal and then propose it to the organization to actually be in the budget, they can't be paid and they can't work. So you can invite them to whatever session, you can talk to them, but they can't just be in the session. They have to, you answer their questions, and then they go off and do a buddy team and they get the work done. They should be working on their main buddy team doc. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, like
You know the
can't
reason that
participate.
I say let them join. We can just take them through this for them to work with us. This is the main buddy team setup process. We just take them through. Then it is up to them to go through that and make their own.
Yeah, and make a video recording and then send them the video recording to the next group. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. And we probably have video recordings about how to do main buddy teams and stuff like that, but I think doing another one is a good idea. And then on here, on the main buddy team setup process, we have all the information at the top of it. I linked the main buddy team and POP policy and minimum criteria doc. And then here are all the steps to setting up the main buddy team. And example for the main buddy team proposal. And that's good. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. What's next?
Next lesson. Teresa, we see Teresa will join them. So,
Yeah.
Well,
If they
I
are
don't know,
very three of them can.
But I told Teresa that she can make a main buddy team with Kinat or Hussein Akbar, and she said thank you. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Then and the next thing is Cobalt invoice.
And then there's also Tom. So Tom is another person who wants to get involved that we are actively recruiting. We shall see if Tom joins us. All right. So now we are on the Cobalt invoice. So the Cobalt invoice is I've got to keep this under 5 minutes here. The Cobalt invoice is due. So we have a new timeline for invoices. So it's the quarter moon is the due date, the first quarter moon due date, and this would be soft stop. And then on the full moon is the due date, and this would be the hard stop. So I don't think we turned in an invoice for the full moon, did we? I don't think so. So basically we should be on hard stop right now. So next month at this time, we would be on hard stop if we haven't done our invoice. For this month, I think it can be a little bit more laxed. So the first question 1, who is in the Cobalt and New World invoice? So this would include Mel, Melinda, would be the quantum team. And
We have Abdul and
Cobalt.
Shigemi.
So that, and then you have Jella, right? So Abdul, Shagimi.
Cobalt, we have Rachel and Jessica.
Cobalt, Rachel, Jessica,
And also
Margie,
Jay.
Asif, who?
You are not on Cobalt.
No, my time is not included in the invoice because I don't charge any money. So it has nothing to do.
Okay.
I'm more like an investor. I give money, right? I'm paying for everyone to work as opposed to taking money. So the invoice wouldn't include my time. It would include Mel, Melinda, Abdul, Shagimi, Mazi, Asif, Rachel, Jessica. I believe Mamoon, and Mahidi, right?
Yeah.
Is there anybody else?
What about Teresa now? Oh no, they're not yet there.
But it would include Teresa in the fact that we're doing this would be the 151 invoice, right? 151 degree invoice. Right, we're on 151.
Yeah, 151 is after.
Yeah, for 151.
So who is responsible for doing this? I know Abdul was doing it. So this would be to draft the estimated invoice. This is kind of like step 1, does not need to be perfect. So who is doing this?
Abdul was doing it. I think we just have to review if it is okay.
All right.
I remember Abdul was doing it. Let me look for it if I can get.
For Cobalt, I think Cobalt, both of them are on the same Phantom, Jello, and
For Cobalt.
yeah, they're all on the same.
Yeah, Abdul was working there. Let me just check for it.
I remember also. Let me also help you go to Cobalt Doc and see.
Okay, so the Jello people can only work on Jello. Cobalt people can work only on the Cobalt sessions and
Jello reports to me, and technically speaking, it should be New World. So I think we're looking at like Cobalt, Sonic, etc., right? Unless people are assigned to do other things. Although Asif and Mazi, your situation is going to change because you changed your budget proposal. My understanding with your proposal is that you're going to be in tier 2 starting next month. So starting next month, I believe you'll be in tier 2. Does someone want to link the budget here? I should have it. Oh no, I don't. Let's link the, no, I don't have it, bummer. I should have it here. Where is our Andromeda? Here we go. So during Andromeda today, we went over a couple budgets. So we have the current simple budget for this month, and then we have the ranked budget for next month. I think this is correct. So for this month, Asif and Mazi are in tier 4, right?
I think so.
Yeah, Tifo.
Sonic is dying now. No one in Sonic.
Yeah, so it's tier. So you guys are in tier 4, the budget. So you barely are in it, and we have to cut this out of next month's budget. All right. So the answer is that you're lucky to be in Jello at all. We almost cut you entirely from the budget. Remember?
Yes.
So
Yes.
so next month though is going to be substantially different, and you'll be in the global team. So starting at the new moon, which is going to be like a week and a half away, you guys should be up to tier 2. So what I saw here, Asif and Mazi, yeah, so you're ranked in tier 2. So you're going to be ranked very, very high. It looks like Teresa might still go with Joyce and Aline.
Okay.
And she said something about June, July onwards. Let me add Joyce in here just in case she's not already. Joyce.
But what will happen when we approve Joyce and Elaine preemptively July, August?
You know, Albina, don't really understand because this guy agree. Like then after that again, they say no, we are going to remain 2. I was like, why you agree and again disagree again? Yeah. They need to come clear and let Teresa know. They made a again. They removed Teresa. Now again they see Teresa.
Well, the problem was that they had the HR board vote, but they got the HR board vote completed. So now they could add Teresa. You know, if they want to.
If they cannot, no problem.
Yeah. So it just depends. You know, like now that the HR board vote is over, you can do whatever you want to. It does not require more HR board vote. Okay, so that's relating to Joyce and Eileen. Okay. So Steve and Evelyn are in Heartstop. Everybody else is active and in the budget. And Mel and Melinda is basically just local SFA, so it's like a separate. Well, it's not a separate budget, but it's just like a separate amount, and we should be able to get this under $1,000. So we're over a lot for next month, so we're gonna need to cut and reduce and figure some stuff out, but we're making progress. So does that answer your guys' question, Mazi and Asif?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but what your guys' budget was for the 151 invoice might be different than the current invoice, which would be the 3rd degree invoice. Okay.
Makes
All right.
sense.
So, is anyone helping Abdul? Can I put you on this, Albina?
Yeah.
Yeah, and remember, all we need is client. You know, I would say just do estimated invoice for client work only. Okay.
Can you open the one I linked there? Cobalt team umbrella invoice.
Okay. Cool. Let's see what we got. What is this?
A lot of things. Which one
Oh,
is
here's
it?
a gelatin invoice.
Quantum, gel. And even Sonic, we don't have Sonic, so we need to remove Sonic and put the go back.
Well, this is the only one that has 151 degree. Okay, so work category. This none of which. Oh, wait, it has a little bit. Huh. So the biggest problem here is that it doesn't organize client work. So this is client here, client. This I believe is client. Worker coordination, F compare documentation, coordination budget.
Only two.
So yeah, so we have $13. Well, yeah, not a lot of funds to build our budget with. So basically, this month is like, you know, we need to get the invoice in for last month, so otherwise this is how much money we have, and then you cut it, right? So for example, last month, let's do an example. So last month, the client invoice for the global tabulation was equal to about, let's say, $1,800, right? So then if we pull up our budget for this month, well, this would be, technically it would be two months ago. So last month, which was really 2 months ago, this would be the 18° west invoice, right? Right?
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
$1,800. So that means for the 3rd degree budget, so this means that for the 3rd degree budget, we have $1,800 of income, right? So if you have here, this is our potential income. So for this month, which is the 3rd degree month, we have a potential income of $4,535, right? But this doesn't mean that money comes. It only comes in if and only if we do the work. You understand?
Yeah.
Right? So how much work do we need to do to make all $2,000 of these client budgets? How much work do we have to do? And it's going to be 33%. We have to do $666 of work to get $2,000. Does that make sense? This shouldn't be that hard to do, but for whatever reason, month after month after month, we do like a fraction of the work, and we don't get the work done, right? So the point that I'm trying to make is that that last month, or for the 18° invoice, we had almost $4,500. We had the potential to bring in at least $3,000. We only brought in $1,800. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that means for the 3rd degree budget, everyone should have been fired beyond $1,800. So if we go to $1,800,
Maybe it is more than 1,800 for client last month, because on our work we have like 100 and something for client, and Joyce, she did not include that month. She included less month.
Well, that's part of why we're not doing that, right? But starting with the 151° budget invoice, next month we are going to be using the money that comes in to the organization. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So we need to budget our money based on our income and actually getting the work done. Okay, so the primary focal point of the invoice needs to be the client work. And then we can go into the other work, but the client work needs to be primary because it defines our budget and how much money we can bring in the budget. Right? But my point is that we would have to cut all the rest of all these buddy teams would be cut out of the budget if we actually stuck with our actual income, which was $1,800. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we need to step up the client work, and we need to get all the work done, not just the client work, but it starts with the client work. So next month, if we only have $13, that means everybody gets fired. Do you understand?
Yes.
So we need to fix that. $13 of client work is not acceptable. So who wants to work with Abdul to make sure that this is addressed?
I'll help him on that. We will see way forward.
Okay, and what super team are you part of?
Albina. New World.
What super team are you part of, Albina?
Zoro.
I'm in Zuri, Old World.
Yes. So what do you think of that, Asif and Mazi?
No, we have to step up for Abdul.
Yeah, or you guys could just decide not to work with us and not get paid anymore. But it's like Albina should be doing the verification.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because Albina, when you now do with Abdul there again, who will do verification?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
We have the step we need to follow.
Yeah, so it's like someone needs to work with Abdul. You know, we can assign Mahidi or we can assign, someone else, but, either Mazi or Asif. I mean, what else are you guys working on right now that you can't do this?
No, I'll help Abdul. I'm on it.
Okay, good. So
I'll help
Abdul and Asif, and then obviously Albina's going to help you guys as well, but she's going to be like oversight and verification, okay?
Right.
Yeah. So Albina's in charge. She's there to make sure it's done correctly. All you need to do is send out a message on the Jello channel and on the Quantum channel, and then just ask everybody, did you do any client work last month? If you did some client work, tell us how much client work you did. Get all the client work organized, and then we'll know how much money we have. Okay?
Yeah. Again, about Melinda and Mel, they need to create maybe a tabulation so that they record there. It will be also much easier.
Sure, but it should be on their main docs as well.
On the work report, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, on the work reports. Yeah.
The message says, please report to us that how much client work Yellow people have done last month. Is it correct?
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, perfect. That's great. Please report to us. You could say you, but that's fine. And then I'll also note here on Cobalt team, please report to Asif.
Who are those Jello people that you guys you think maybe they did the client work? Maybe Abdul only.
It's possible, but it's like that's what needs to change. Otherwise, the whole team needs to go, needs to reduce its hours, and we're gonna just go through more budget problems. People, if the work's not getting done, we need to just hire other people who want to try to do the work, right? And it's what's so silly about it is that we're not even requiring people to actually complete or do the deliverables of the client work. We're just talking basic, let's even try to attempt to do client work. And we can't even do that. It's insane. And no one seems to think it's a crisis or a problem, except for like me, Albina, and Lucy maybe. But it's really, something needs to change, and someone needs to, like, the whole team needs to step up. Otherwise, we just need to hire new people, and the whole idea like, oh, we shouldn't do recruitment right now is insane. Like, the work's not getting done. The thing we should focus on is recruiting people who actually do the work, So I think we're ready to move on. I think we're good. Are we good? Are there any other, you guys there? Hello?
Yes.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Cool. So
Yeah, we are ready to move on.
all right, cool. All right. So let's move on. And like I would go ahead and index this into the invoice doc for New World. All right.
And also, I just propose that we just have to make sure people work. We all work. If all of us can know at least some work, we can move forward. Like we have responsibilities that coming up. When you want to focus on there, no time for you for client. When you want to leave that responsibility, no one will take on that, you know. We need just all of us at least to do something.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you are right, Luz.
And that brings us back to the importance of where are we at the beginning? We talked about the weekly check-in timeline. So the weekly check-in is where we actually get the information of whether or not the client work's going on. What's really interesting about weekly check-in, and obviously we'll be able to verify all this stuff, is that you're doing for why is that? Oh, because of that. All right. Is if you look at the client work, so if we say see previous responses, and we have 18 responses, so this is pretty good. We're getting a lot of people who are responding. And then we look at your estimated percentage of client work. We have a lot of people saying they did a lot of client work, right? So the question is this actually happening? You know, 10%, 25%, 30%, 33%, 50%. So let's find out whether or not there's actually client work going on, because pretty much the vast majority of everybody is saying on their weekly check-in, and this is for the co-chairs. The co-chairs need to figure this out. You know, everyone's saying they did client work, yet
Is there?
yeah.
I doubt.
Yeah, when you talk
Sorry.
to people, it's like no client work got done. Yeah.
Jay, is there any possibility that by some meaning the client work has been missed in the tabulation or invoice?
Yes, that's the whole point. The client work definitely was missed. Like I know Mel did client work. I know Melinda did some client work. I know Abdul did some client work. I mean, there was obviously client work done. The question is when and how and who did it and how much, how long, you know?
Yeah.
But either way, the point is that if people don't step up to do the client work, they're not going to be in the budget anymore. And then if we don't go through the process of doing our invoice and reminding everybody about it, then they're not going to do the client work, right? So the two places that we get everyone to do the client work is with the invoice. What is your client work? How much client work did you do? Let's get the invoice set up for the clients, right? And then the second is with the weekly check-in form. So the weekly check-in form is due at the 16th moon. And the date of the 16th moon is, we just calculated it. Where is it?
31st.
May 31st at 2:43 p.m. UTC. So that's in about, what, 18 hours?
Yeah, less than 24. Yeah, 18 hours.
So everybody who doesn't fill out this form in the next 18 hours is automatically on hard stop. You can't work. You guys understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so if you haven't filled out this form, fill it out, and let's also send out reminders, right? Reminder,
Yes.
everyone must fill out weekly check-in form by, what time was it? 2:43 p.m. UTC, May 31st. And this is a Wednesday? No, it's Thursday, right?
Thursday.
Or you will be put on hard stop. All right. And then here's the link. Boom. And we can send that out to everybody. So that needs to go out to Jello. It needs to go out to Quantum.
Quantum, yeah.
Cool. All right. And for Quantum, it's good to do local time. So 2:43 p.m. would be -8 is to 6 a.m., right? About 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So basically, if you don't do it tonight, you're on. Okay, so now the next question is, who is going to take on this responsibility for the weekly check-in form verification? So now this is an extremely important responsibility, right? So the weekly check-in verification, check-in form verification, whoever is taking on this responsibility, at 2:43 p.m., you would go and, like I just did, and go to the form, see who filled it out, and check off everybody and see who didn't fill it out, and then let them know they're now on hard stop. Let everybody know who's on hard stop.
So Jay, like at 2:43 p.m. is the exact time we need to do verification, or that is the last time for people to fill in? Or
Yeah.
everything must be done by that time? All the verification and everything?
I mean, basically, I would do it beforehand. Like, do the work beforehand, right? So you need to create a spreadsheet, right? Create a spreadsheet, and then you're going to, have every worker on the spreadsheet review the results of the form and check off and verify each worker. And then you just let the workers who didn't do it and remind them they have 18 hours left, right? And then at 2:43, you already should know the 5 to 6 workers who didn't do it before. So basically, it would take like 2 minutes to see if they filled it out, and then put them on, and then let everyone know they're on hard stop. That make sense?
Yes.
So the point is that the work should happen beforehand, right? Because, like, for example, right now we know that there's been 18 forms filled out, right? So if we do this, well, obviously we did a couple tests, and let's just get the link for the results. So see previous responses. So I can go copy here. So here is the results. So let's index this into responsibility organizing for this responsibility results right here. So this is what we call visual results. You guys have the link to the spreadsheet, or do you want me to get it for you?
Yeah.
I don't know whether there is a link to that.
Spreadsheet results, I think they're there. Let me check.
I can get it for you if you want.
Okay.
It would be under worker coordination, because this is all part of worker coordination. But this is all of the worker coordination forms right here, okay?
We are on the top of second hour.
All right, so it's time to start wrapping up and checking out. But again, this is, for me, the most important thing, because it basically you're saying I don't know what proposal spreadsheet means. I'm assuming the results is the actual spreadsheet, but maybe the proposal spreadsheet. I don't know. Anyways, this is all the information right here that you could ever possibly need, okay? And if you have problems, just let us know, ask a question. So weekly check-in form verification. So the question is, who's going to do this?
Oh, I might have other thing that I assign. Maybe I will help someone who is working on that, because I assign myself other work.
Yeah, and based on our thing here, obviously the co-chairs are responsible at some level, but
Okay,
it's
I'll
like,
do it, Lucy there.
okay, so Lucy and Albina. So Lucy and Albina. And then obviously if you guys are, going to be asleep, it's in the middle of the night or whatever, you would want to assign it to someone who's going to be awake during that time, okay? All right, but for now we're assigning Lucy and Albina, and then indirectly the co-chairs are overseeing it. So if it doesn't happen, the co-chairs are obviously responsible as well.
Mazi, I think also you are responsible. Also, you need to work on that because you are a co-chair.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
All right.
You can just start working because
That's why I say if all of us can be cooperate and take the other tasks that are available, we can even move forward easily.
Great. Okay, so this sounds great. So basically, the way this works is very simple. By 2:43 p.m. on May 31st, this is Thursday, May 31st, this is basically when I get up in the morning, there should be a Skype message in the next 18 hours that states who is on hard stop because they didn't fill out their weekly work report. Okay? And this is the first time we're doing this. We told everybody we're going to do it. And this is going to give us the information that we need to be able to know, how many hours people are working, how much, it's going to cost us, what is the client work that's getting done, what is the internal ops that's getting done, so that we can quickly and easily see what is and isn't getting done, and we can actually function as an organization, So when we did the midweek check-ins, it was up to the co-chairs to figure everything out themselves. Now it's going to be like a team effort. Like every single individual inputs with a quick estimate, couple minutes. It doesn't need to be exact numbers. You don't even need to look at your work report. But what the only thing that's supposed to happen by 2:43 p.m. UTC, and I'll probably be asleep at that time. I'll be waking up and I'll see in the Skype, message who and how many people exactly didn't fill it out and who's on hard stop, right? And then there'll be an additional 16th moon to the 8th moon. And at the 8th moon, the co-chairs are going to actually review between the 16th moon and the 18th moon, the co-chairs or whoever they assign are going to review the data and actually see how much, client work is actually getting done, whether or not people are telling the truth about the client work that they are doing, and whether or not people need to be put on soft stop or hard stop based on them not doing enough work. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is really what it comes down to right here, right? It's not about controlling people or people reporting, whatever. It's just about communication as a team and then holding people accountable to doing what they said they were going to do. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So hopefully this will help turn around. Like we've been working on this for like 5 months now to help fix this organization. And this is what it comes down to. It comes down to the minutes and seconds and the verification and the soft stops and hard stops. This is what's going to actually turn around our organization and get us getting the work completed and making sure the client work's getting done. This is what we're presenting and we're proposing to do. So hopefully it works because nothing else is working. We need to try something new, and this is what it is. And it starts in the next 18 hours. Any last questions before we check out?
No.
Cool.
No question.
And then hopefully we'll have our after we start getting these communications and reporting, people will realize that they need to do their client work and they need to do their invoices, and then everything will start flowing better. So let's get this invoice. We have 1 week to get the invoice done and then get our budget ready for next month. All right.
Yeah, which invoice are we going to focus on? J151 or 3?
Yeah, the 151 invoice is
151 and sorry, Jay, sorry.
No, the 151 invoice is the foundation for the 116-degree budget. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So are we going to focus on that? We leave the one for 18-degree, right?
18-degree was for this month.
Yeah, for June, July, Lucy.
So May,
Yes, I
May,
know,
June
but
was
it
for
was
the
not
18
good.
degree.
Can we go back and start doing verification there, or we just move ahead for 151?
Just go to 151.
Okay, thank you.
Because we don't, the 18-degree west doesn't help us anymore. We already missed it. It's past.
Yes.
All right. So we want to focus on 151, and then the 151 will be the foundation for our next month's budget, so we can get our next month's budget set up. And this is for the June, July budget, right? And then the 3-degree east invoice will be the foundation for the July, August budget. Okay, that makes sense?
Yes.
All right. So I think, well, actually, I think that we could go ahead and talk about ASIF and animaxation because we've been waiting for so long. Are there any other questions about the 116-degree budget itself? And who's gonna, I mean, until we have the invoice, we don't really know who and how people are gonna fit in it. But basically, if our invoice is that we only have, you know, $13 of client work, we're definitely going to be cutting some people. I mean, that's just not acceptable.
What about in whole world? That was new world.
Yeah, well, I don't think that the old world should be affected by the new world's lack of ability to do client work. You know, that the old world client work and the new world client work should be separate, right? And so that should be the definition of the basis of the budget should be the client work.
Okay.
Like, let's get the client work done first, then we can look at all the other work that was done. But it's like, if the work's not getting done, no one should be expecting to get paid. Everyone should be expected to get fired, right? Or am I missing something?
You're not missing, yeah. It's very right. And we just need everyone to get involved.
Or no, I don't care if people get involved. All I care is that Lucy wants to get involved, or Albina wants to get involved. If other people don't want to get involved, boom, they're fired. Done. We hire someone new. It's simple. It's up to them to get involved, not up to us to ask them to get involved. Do you understand?
Yes.
If they don't want to get involved, that's perfectly fine. Then they're fired and they can go on and do their life. Otherwise, they shouldn't be here. I mean, why should we waste our time trying to get people to do something they don't want to do? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, even like right now, we all know that all of these people technically should be here right now. Melinda will be here next week. We're going to do a local in-person session. I don't know about Mel, but all these people are going to be here. All these people should be here, but they're not, you know? But it's like they're not required to be here, but they are required to do work, you know, as a team. We all have to do the work as a team, including 33% client work. Otherwise, people get fired. All right. So, so if you're not in the budget, you don't need to ask people to do this, Albina.
Oh, okay.
If they're not in the budget, they don't fill out the form because they're not working.
Just remove
Yeah. American team. Okay.
Cool. So that looks good. New World waiting for HR board's fine, because that means you're still in the budget. Old World waiting for HR board is fine. Let's see if there's anyone who's removed from the budget in here. No, we're good. All right.
Yes, good.
Cool. All right. So, any other questions for the 116-degree west budget? Okay, and we're going to use the new ranking technique, and then we're just going to see how many people we can fit and who needs to be cut out of it. Let's take a quick look at it. Can we take a quick look at it real quick?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the most important thing And I believe this, okay, good. I believe that for this one, the most important thing that added in here is all of the lowest per month and lowest hours per week. So the example here is if we had to reduce the budget down to $5,000, and this is the total budgeted, we have to cut $1,478. So the question would be, how do we cut from this $6,477 down to 5,000 if the total amount that we have is 5,000? Okay. So this is the percentage of each person's pay, right, that they have for lowest. But then this is going to be the lowest that we're doing. So let's see if this works out. So the new total would be the amount that's cut, and some of these aren't going to be cut, so we have to figure that out. So how do we do that last time? So we know that this one, there's no lowest, and I think it's the only one. Everything else gets lower. And then there's mine that I can't go lower than that either. I'm already giving as much money as I can. So all we have to do is change what am I missing here? So this is the total that needs to be reduced. And then this is the percentage compared to their total. Do you guys have the link to the third degree budget? I think we have right here. Let me see. Because I think we did this in the third degree budget already. Let's see. That would have been over here. No, this one? No, not here.
Okay.
Do we have the link
Can
to
you
the
check
simple,
it on
the simple budget? We had the simple budget before.
on a simple budget? Check on a simple budget.
I thought this
I
was
think
the
I
simple
made
budget.
June or June, July.
No, it's not here. It was maybe it was from last month's
The
simple
last
budget.
budget, just check on a simple budget.
Boy.
I'll show you.
I mean, I should be able to do this. This shouldn't be so difficult. So what is the difference?
Simple budget. Let's open the simple budget that you link.
So we have to add something. Okay, well, this is going to be a little more complicated than I can deal with right now. So let's just be sure to do this. So all that's left to do for our 116 degree budget. So next steps, it's very simple. One, we need to calculate the reduction from the requested budgets. So we'll get that done. And this we need to do with J. And then we should create a variety of proposals for the quarter moon and then send to the HR board. All right. And then we're done. Done with budget. Actually, there's actually one other part, you know, connect to what is this? The super team and invoice tabulation budgets. So this is the part that we didn't do this month, so we need to make sure that happens, that we need to create budgets for the super teams. All right.
Can Can you check on only existing team if you can get that? I think it is there on a simple budget for that three degrees.
Which one? This one here, simple budget 3 degree.
Yeah, on only existing. On the menu there's some sheet that they're hiding. We hide some others there instead of deleting.
Yeah, I mean,
And
all of these numbers came from our process that we already did, right? For the percentages. Anyways, if I was focused on this instead of needing to move on, and we're late, right? I'd be able to do it really easily. But basically, the point is that this should add up to 100%, and that it changes the percentage of each person's pay based on the total allotted, right? And then we have to subtract the correct numbers. I think the easiest thing to do is just to remove. We would be removing Aline as well as myself from the budget, and then work it out from there. That'll be the easiest way, okay? So then this will be 100%. Then we're gonna take the total, the new total for the budget, and then we have to take that new total based on the number of hours, and then that will give us the dollars per hour, and then this will be the new ranking, and then we'll know exactly how much people are getting paid. Okay, so we're looking pretty good here. We should be fine. This should be 4 weeks. Okay. All right. Any other questions? So there's definitely work that needs to get done to get the budget completed, but we're so close. We just need to get it done. We have less than 2 weeks to get it done. And ideally, we had all of this done before the quarter moon, so that at the quarter moon we can basically approve the budgets and get it to HR board. Because remember, the goal is to have the budget approved before the new moon and finalize it at the new moon, not just like wait until the next month. That make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we could already be starting on the July-August budget already, because after the full moon, we have everything we need to complete the budget, right? The only question is the income. Coolio. All right, so let's move on. Any last questions on the budget?
Just to connect with you only to do the reduction calculation for the reduction together. Then the rest of the thing we can do it alone without.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do my best to just do it on my own. The other task that I have also is finish the calculations. So I'm going to be doing the Selene calendar calculations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another task for me. Jay needs to finish the Selene calendar calculations.
I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to Asif. All right.
Asif, yes.
Cool.
Yeah, guys.
So,
Hey guys, as you can see that, yeah, Jay, whatever you want to ask me, you can go ahead. Yeah.
okay, so I mean, for me, the goal is the desired outcomes would be the ideal. So I would want to know what your desired outcomes are. My desired outcome is primarily just to understand Asif's, business and work relationship and how it may or may not relate to Q&A.
Okay, Jay, I will just give you an overlook about the company. Then you may have the idea what it is all about. Actually, we are making different kind of advertisements, right? Animation advertisements. Plus, I've recently started customer service for different online stores like Amazon, like Shopify stores. Customer service I'm providing for them. Plus, we are doing data entry as well. Okay. We have got lots of potential. We have got lots of scope of this field. Okay, and as you know that I have shifted to Canada for my marriage purpose, and I have started already the images in front of you. It's in process. within 1 week, I'll get my license. I'll get my trade license from the Chamber of Commerce in Canada, and I'm good to go. Basically, I'm working online. Okay, I'm getting the clients online, like from US, like from Canada, like from Australia. Whoever has got the project for animation, for 3D animation, anyone has a project for online stores, like jewelry store, like clothing store, like fashion industry store, I will provide them the customer support. I mean, the client is coming, I have to respond to them. I have to, track the orders for them and all that. Plus, I've started in Canada. I've started a new section of data entry as well. Many of the US companies, they need data entry, like LinkedIn searches, like LinkedIn profile searches, and Excel sheets, development, all that. So this is all about animation currently in Canada.
Cool. So I mean that answers generally like what animation is. But we still have lots of questions that we want to go through for your involvement in a relationship with FQN, community network. So I don't know if you have. So the desired outcome that you just answered would be to have a better understanding of what animation is, right? So that is now completed, right?
Right.
Good. So are there any other desired outcomes that you would want yourself?
It's I think animation work or customer service work is not related to FQN. But yeah, when talking about the data entry, I'm very much hopeful that I'll get some work. But that data entry will be a bit difficult from Google Sheets and all that. You understand? Suppose I'll just give you a very minor idea of the data entry, what people are out there wanted to do. They have got the list of several people, like 1,000 or 500 people. We have to search for LinkedIn profiles. And based on that volume, people are billing us. Like suppose if they're saying us that search 500 people for us, okay, and the budget is like suppose $1,000 or $800 or $700, okay. Now alone, a single person cannot do this whole thing, okay. So I think collaborating with FQN, okay, and getting the clients, will be a good start if you. What do you say, Jay? That's what I'm getting an idea.
Okay, so I mean, if you'd want to collaborate with FQN Community Network on data entry, business activities, that's perfectly fine, and that would be up to you to want to do that. It would be done in the relationship of basically creating a new partnership or collaborative organization or collaborative business, right?
Albina, can you please mute for a second?
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
So if there was interest in working on a new income stream, the way the FQN Community Network works is that we would be building a new, in essence, like a not really like a partnership, but more of like a collaborative organization or some type of organization that people with individuals who were chosen to be involved in that, and then from there you could evolve it into umbus client work if it was applicable. But again, most of the organizations within the FQN Community Network, right under the umbrella, are not involved with umbus and not involved with FQN workers, right? So right. There's no requirement to do that either way. So it sounds like that there might be some interest in there in terms of doing that. So we'll have to have more understanding about that. On the bigger question, I think there's two bigger questions that we want to ask. So let's make a list here of continued questions here. So continued questions and next steps, right? So one is this collaborating with getting clients related to data entry and searches. So that's one.
I mean, you have got idea. Data entry is not a small field. It's a very vast and wider field. You know, many things are coming, like many things, like even taxes. You know, people have got their bank statement. They want to transfer their bank statement in an Excel sheet. They want the reconciliation of that Excel sheet as well. So
yeah, well, that's one of the things that we do based on our financial services, right?
Right.
Yeah. Cool. So so the other two questions that I have would be one is just like the relationship between FUN, ASIF, and animaxination. You know, when we pay you, you know, are there other workers involved? Should we be investing in an animaxination, you know, or directly paying animaxination? Basically, what you know, what are the funds for? Do we want to be directly involved as opposed to indirectly involved? The other question is that, you know, that see if you have also brought up other, you know, business opportunities related to everything from something Turks and other cyber businesses and cyber token activities, etc., etc., etc. So in the end, the other question is just like, you know, questions regarding overlap and collaboration. Yeah.
First of all, that you know, animaxination is totally, you know, it will be directly paid. Honestly, it will be directly paid. Okay, no individuals are involved in it. And secondly, the other opportunities, you know, I'm working on two things, which is very much important for me. Those are Bitsy Gear. One is Bitsy Gear. It's related to Bitcoins. And the second thing is consultation. I'm giving a consultation for people who wants to start their online business. I mean, I can set up whole store in Shopify. I can set up whole store on Amazon. I can set up whole store on eBay if anyone likes it. So this is the future project which I'm working on. I mean, I got a very good response from US, you know, people. Like one of the person, he wants to create a site on Shopify. He wants to make a jewelry, you know, store. I'll be giving the consultation to him.
Yeah.
So there are endless opportunities. There are endless opportunities, but mainly my focus is as of now, my focus is to get the trade license and memorandum of MOA as soon as possible, so I can start my work officially in Canada. So this is, and it will take, I think, hardly now from 3 to 4 days, it is in process now.
Cool. Okay, so option number 1 would be okay. So let me finish a couple questions, and then we'll look some options moving forward. So obviously, one option moving forward we'll throw out right now is like to build a collaborative company around activities that are similar or overlapping, and you know, basically, you know, work together. Another option obviously would be to build a collaborative partnership around just supporting each other, right?
Right.
No specific outcome yet. So in the context of this first part, NMAX Nation is getting directly paid. So the question is simple. When we pay a CEF money, is the money going to you, or is it going to Animax Nation, or is it money that you take and then you spend on Animax Nation, or you spend on other workers, or is the money going to you personally? Like who, when we pay you, who are we paying? And then also that also relates to the context, and you know that, I mean, let's just be honest, especially over the last few months, you haven't really been around much. Right. And so it's like, even when you do take on responsibilities, you obviously are extremely busy with a lot of other things. You know, is the best role of you playing and collaborating just having you take on tasks, or, you know, do we, maybe we'd be much better in collaborating and working on bigger visions and bigger business visions that could be much better for both of us in increasing our capacities, you know?
No, this is the point, GJ, I wanted to discuss with you honestly, okay? Now here I need your guidance, because you want me to get paid, you want Animax Nation to get paid, because Animax will be officially started after 3 to 4 days, okay? What you recommend, what is your opinion, that what you want to do? You want to pay directly to me, or you want to pay directly to Animax Nation, or whatever you suggest?
Well, I mean, let's break it down. So payment options. Options are very simple. One, we can pay Animax Nation, right? Or two, we can pay a CEF. And then if you break it down further, Animax Nation can go to pay, you know, workers, or it could go, or can go to pay a CEF, right? And then if you pay a CEF, the money could go back into Animax Nation, or could go to pay other workers, right? So, or, you know, or it is just used to pay a CEF bills, right? So, of all these options, like if we say this is A and this is B and this is C and this is D, right? C or D would be the silliest, right? Like these two would make the least amount of sense, because we would prefer to just be supporting Animax Nation directly, right? So in the context of what the money is used for is important, right? In some context, the most important would be if we hired you to work and then you were paying other workers to help doing the work. We actually, in our policies, would want them to be getting tokens and equity and value from our network as well. So that's one aspect of it, because we're all about socially responsible business. And then from there, in the context of any options here, in the end, it doesn't really matter. What matters the most is what we're paying you to do and what your capabilities of doing as an individual and organization, and as a collaborative community, right? So for example, you know, obviously we are working on various types of data entry projects and doing our finances and doing other things, right? You know, if Animax Nation wanted to take on certain roles, then we can just let you do that and then pay you to work on Animax Nation instead of paying you a CEF to work on FQN Community Network. You see the difference?
Can you just elaborate once again?
So let's say, okay, there's a little bit of overlap here, right? For example, let's put some example of the overlap, right? So examples. One, we know that you specifically are talking about some data entry related to bank statements and, you know, maybe some reconciliation, right? So that's a little bit there. Also, let's be honest here that you could do some stores and online
business consultation or something.
Business consultation, I don't think is applicable.
Right.
I don't know what business consultation would be, but we could add it here, right? So another thing you may be doing in the future, business consultation, you know, whatever that would be. I mean, we basically do that stuff for free. So Okay, so then the question here, this is just two examples, right? So example 1, example 2. So in this context, if we needed work and help with doing some data entry and bank statements, we don't necessarily need to hire a CEF. We could hire Animaxination and pay Animaxination the funds, and then instead of you working for FQN Community Network, you're working for Animaxination, but it's supporting the FQN Community Network, right?
Okay, I got it.
The same would be for like a store online product placement. I mean, I don't think our websites are working right now, but we have a couple options for stores that we've worked on in the past. They're not great, obviously, but boom, that would be another potential thing. But the list goes on and on and on. There's other overlaps. Plus, we're getting into like potential future possibilities with like Bitcoin related things and consultations, et cetera, right? So
right.
The point that I'm trying to make is we can pay you, but if you're not really around, it doesn't really help either of us, right? And
right.
so if your primary focus is Animaxination, it might make more sense for us to pay Animaxination, whether it's $100 or $300 or $500 or whatever the amount is, in the context where if that's where your focus is anyways, it might actually be better for you and better for us to be all focused on the same thing and working collaboratively together.
Right.
Right? In terms of, basically, the question is it potentially better to build a business relationship instead of a personal relationship? Right? And the answer is we can do both, right? So let's make sure there's clear that option number 3 is pay both SC and Animaxination. Okay? So for example, with FQN Community Network, right, here's a little bit of a skill building, okay? So what we do is we do, like, let's say our clients, we have client A, right? With client A, they do subcontracting, subcontract J as a worker and even sometimes an officer. Sometimes I'll be a treasurer of the organization or a CFO, et cetera, right?
Right.
So I have a client, they subcontract me as a worker. In addition to this, they also hire FQN Community Network workers to do finances, social media, whether it's website work or maybe we're doing tokenization and value tracking, right? So the point is that client A can both hire our business as well as subcontract me as an individual, right? And this would all be a client work, right?
Right.
And the alternative would be client B. You guys scored again? Is it 2-1? 3-1. Nice. So client B would be this would be client and individual work, right? So this would be to hire FQN for finances, social media, tokenization, values, etc. And then to hire J as an individual employee or worker as the CFO separate from FQN. Do you see the difference?
Yes, yeah, I understand now.
Yeah, so this particular model and for client B, right? This one we don't, like, J does not do this. I just don't do this, right? I'm not interested in, like, there'll be a very, very rare circumstance where it's necessary, right? And usually it's only necessary if I'm a executive officer of a legal corporation, typically within the US, right? Usually within the US, where it is legally liable to only have someone hired as an individual, right? So in that context, I'm willing to do that if it's necessary, okay? So with the client B example, currently I don't have any relationships like that. I'll usually take on a treasurer role and not be the CFO or some other. Nice, cool. All right, so let's just take that off. Treasurer, secretary, etc. All right. So and so client A is how I usually do things. So right now, your relationship with FQN, if we say this is option 1 and this is option 2, it would be client B option 2. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, yes.
Yeah. So that's currently our relationship. So now the options for moving forward would be to either do option 1, option 2, or option 3, which would be both a C and NMXination, which would be 1 and 2. It would be basically the client B model would be C. So this would be equal to client B model, right?
Right.
Yeah. So hopefully that's kind of clear. Either way, all of that doesn't really matter to me. I could really care less. It's the same money. It's the same budget. It doesn't really directly affect anything. What I'm much more interested in is building collaborative companies, building collaborative partnerships, building a new organization that supports both of us. And this could be, there's a couple different versions of that. So and then also it could be a single product or service, right? Which we could partner on or collaborate or partner on. I'm almost done. All right. So anyways, we don't have to make any decisions on this, but I just want to make sure you understand, like when there's different types of overlaps, and so we have different overlaps. So there's cyber overlaps, finance overlaps, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We'll just say like web slash, it's like web. So in that context, it's like, sometimes collaborating together and building either a collaboration, or you could even have a, what's the other word? There's another word I can't remember. But the point is that it could be collaboration, or it could be some sort of partnership, or where we're either sharing clients or like we're sending clients to each other and doing commissions or whatever. So I think that's pretty much it on my side. I mean, I don't think we're going to be able to finalize anything right now, and I do need to get going. But the key thing is like, here's different options.
One last thing. Suppose recently I got a client whose budget is $1,000, okay, and I don't have workforce, okay, and as soon as possible I want to hire persons. So do I collaborate with the FQN to get my work done, and we can mutually undertake the payment or something like that? So is it possible? I'm just giving an example. Is that possible?
The answer is yes. And let's go through some specifics here. So, this would be totally different. So what we talked about so far is we've talked about, let's go over, it's a review what we already talked about, okay?
Okay.
So the first thing we talked about is ASIF's payments, right? So we talked about that. Well, here, I'll put the 0. We just got on same page. Okay, we got on the same page. We talked about your payments. 2, we talked about potential collaborations and partnerships, right?
Right.
So we have a variety of collaborations and partnership opportunities and possibilities moving forward, and how that all might mean whatever. Okay. The third one is what you just brought up, which is just like, already existing services for Animaxination from FQN Community Network. Okay.
Right.
So that's what I'm going to go through next. Is like what are services that FQN offers that could be helpful to Animaxination. So what's really important here is that regardless of 1 or 2, number 3 exists. Right. So, for example, if there was a new organization or existing organizations that we're working with, we obviously, as you know, provide tons and tons of services, both paid and unpaid. Like it's like we're a nonprofit, right? We're not trying to make profit, right? It's about helping the new economy and helping people and helping individuals. So our primary focus is. Does anyone want to guess what our primary focus is in our services? Lucy, Albina, Mazi, what's the centerpiece to the entire FQN community network? Anyone remember? No, nobody? Okay, I'll just say it. Okay, Asif. Okay, why would Asif be our primary focus? Because it's life support. What we care about is not animaxination, it is Asif. And whatever we can do to support Asif as a unique individual on this planet. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
So in that context, like we want, animaxination to be successful, but we also want all of your endeavors and businesses and life goals to also be successful. So for us, it doesn't matter if it's within animaxination or outside of it. All right.
Right.
So in that context, like we're here and supportive and available to help on any level with new businesses or new activities. So primarily our focus is like, the key to this is the goal, animation and advertising services, question mark, or is there a deeper, goal of helping humanity? Like, what does Asif really want to do? What is the actual, purpose? Does that make sense? So it's like, is animaxination and just doing advertising services for some clients what the purpose of animaxination, right? Or is there a bigger purpose and a bigger vision? That's what we care about. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah. So what we want to know, my question to you would be, what do you really want, right? Because yes, we can help animaxination be successful, done, no problem. But it's like, that's minor. Like what we really care about is how we transform the world, and we actually collaborate to see you and your family and your community in Canada, as well as in Pakistan and Cyprus or wherever you've been, to be successful as well, and to be healthy and healed, right? Okay.
Right.
So I would love to go into that right now, but because of time, let's move on. All right. Next would be just basic, let's just say that there's like 10 sets of possible services, and then we're going to skip to specifically the relationship with workers. So we have tons of possible services we can do, both paid and unpaid. The next one would be, we'll give the unpaid version first. Unpaid version would basically be as either an external or internal organization with FQN. And you would create a client budget. We currently, Umbus currently operates on 3x, right?
Right.
So you have to consider that in terms of the total costs. But overall, it is, once the client budget is created, then, the goals can exist separately from anything else in FQN community network. So, the only thing I'm kind of thinking here is that this would be a little bit more related for internal organization within FQN. So internal organization with FQN would be easier. So we would create some type of internal partnership or business, right? Either sponsored or cyber. Sponsored or cyber, doesn't really matter. So if it was external, you would kind of need to create a partnership or some type of client relationship. So you're paying FQN community network, but we on our side would create a some type of pass-through business, or a mini collaborative company, right? Simply to connect to Umbus, right? So basically, the bottom line is that currently all client funds for Umbus go through Rico, and that doesn't have to be the case, right? So it doesn't need to go through Rico. In other words, you can set your own what would you call it, client agreement with Animaxination. Okay, so hopefully that sort of makes sense. The paid version would be, this is kind of like the unpaid version is sort of like DIY, so we can you can ask questions and we can help you set it up, right?
Right.
So the paid version would be, wait, do you have any questions on the unpaid version before I go on?
No, Jay, clear.
Are you sure? Because there's a lot that's in there.
Yes, I'm clear, Jay.
Yeah, but I guess to finish it off, like, regardless of well, yeah, let's just say that, you have direct access to FQN and all services and subunits and can create your own 100% owned, I'm not going to call it a business because it's a branch of Animaxination, right? So it's still part of Animaxination, but it would be inside of FQN. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, yeah.
So this is total direct access. Anyone can do this, and then you would still have 100% ownership, although you could also create a collaborative relationship, especially if there's external involvement. But this would be the internal system. So then for the paid version, it would be, there's two options. Option number one would simply just pay, Rico or a Rico partnership as a client and create a Umbus budget through that, right? Or two, you could, let's say, I would say probably usually it's like $500. It would take about 1 to 2 months. And then we would just build everything for you and get it set up. Once set up, you can have, $0 budget or, as large as you would want each month to change. Does that make sense? So we could set it all up for you. And this would be to set up an internal model. So instead of doing it DIY, and then once the internal model set up, then you can just do whatever you want in however that works. So then overall, the way that Umbus works is as follows. Let's say you budget, $2,000 per month or a $2,000 one-time budget, right? It doesn't have to be per month. And the workers do the work and track their hours and then charge Umbus the amount that was completed, right? If under 2,000, then it goes back to the owner. If you are the owner, then the money goes back to Animaxination. Okay, that makes sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
So the point is that the way that we've modeled Umbus once you create an UMBUS pool, this is the UMBUS. Like that's what we are. We are UMBUS, and you actually already have ownership in UMBUS. Does that make sense?
Sorry, I do have what?
So Asif already has a percentage ownership in RICO, FQN Community Network, and you know, all of our teams, including Cobalt and UMBUS. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
So based on all the work that you've already done with us, you're already getting paid and you already have equity and tokens and all that stuff. We just haven't done the team equity. But once we get to team equity, we'll be distributing all of the value to everybody. Everyone's gonna get tokens, everyone's gonna have equity, everyone's gonna get shares, right? So that we're not like, no one's an employee, we're a worker-owned cooperative. That's the model of the FQN Community Network, right? So that would also be true with anything that you did at UMBUS work. All the workers that would be hired through UMBUS would also be part of the cooperative, and then also Animax Nation would be considered a member as well, right? As an organizational member. So hopefully, so you already have ownership. So basically, in the relationship of building a new entity and working and having UMBUS, it's like you are creating a new client pool, just like Plasma, J-Support, Mo Taxes, RICO Law, you know, the grants, all this stuff, right? So these are all, so right now we have $4,500, and then we would just add in Animax Nation branch or whatever we want to call it. And let's say you said $1,000 or whatever, and then it would be 5,000 for the month. Does that make sense? So then you could choose who or what workers will be involved with it. But the idea is that we want to increase the maximum capacity of the workers to do work to benefit their lives. And it has nothing to do with FQN Community Network isn't an organization in the concept where we're trying to benefit any individual or any individual organization. It's about benefiting the people, and the people actually own it and control it. So anything that benefits the workers, like getting more funds, right? In no way should it reduce Animax Nation's ability to be involved. Like, so Animax Nation would be equal to RICO and my business. Does that make sense?
Yes. Cool. Okay. Now, as what will be the prerequisites now? What will be the first step? Or the discussion is going into a very good phase now. So what will be the
Jay,
yes, Albina or Lucy?
can I check out?
Sure, yeah, I need to get going here too. But yeah, you can check out real quick.
Okay. Thank you, guys. The session was good. I give it a 7. And I'll be working on more taxes and also on the global midweek check-ins, budget, and tabulation.
Awesome, thanks, Albina, and thanks for listening to all this. Like, eventually, you guys will all be doing client relations. This is part of learning how to do client relations here. All right, take care.
Okay.
Does anyone else need to check out?
Thank you.
Does anyone else need to check out right now? Or my hope is to get done in like a couple more minutes here because I gotta go as well. Lucy?
Yeah, I would like to check out this.
I mean, should we just all check out?
Yeah.
I mean, if we all need to go, we can just all check out.
Okay, no worries. Have discussion later on.
Well, let's just let everyone check out, and we'll all check out, and then we can talk a little bit more, Asif, after the checkouts. You get it?
Sure, no worries.
Okay.
No worries.
So, here, I'll check out next. I thought this was a good session as well. It was like I give it a 7 too. And I'm excited about the what is it called? The midweek. No, it's not the midweek check-in. The weekly check-ins. So that'll be good. And I'm going to be working on like the budgets. I'm going to be working on Z Collaborator. I'm going to be working on payroll and the Selene calendar and much more. Okay. Lucy.
Oh, thank you. Question 7, because I learn a lot on checking. I'm going to work on budget, invoice tabulation, global check-in, and also payroll. Yeah, and a lot plasma also, plasma and day support. I hope you'll get time to show me on that tomorrow, Jane.
Tomorrow I have to go to Z Collaborator, but Friday, yeah, maybe we get to Friday. It's just a matter of prioritizing it in relationship to payroll and other things, but we'll get to it for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Cool, thanks.
I'm also going to work on planetary sessions.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I just have a lot I will do.
Okay, cool. Asif, and then we'll do Mazi.
Yeah, for me it is, it is, and it is a really, good to be back. I was a little bit busy in my own stuff as well, and might possible I'll be busy, but no worries. I'll be continuing to work on African now. Moreover, I'll be looking towards invoice tabulation and recruitment and JS support as well. Oh, forget the payroll part.
Okay, and you're probably going to be focusing on invoice. This would be the invoice, not the invoice tabulation. I mean, you can learn how to do invoice tabulation if you want, but this would be the Cobalt half world invoice or new world invoice. Yeah. Cool, Mazi.
Mazi.
This was a great session and learned a lot. I will give it 7, and I will be working on recruitment, mandatory priorities, and invoice. Thank you.
And then also, if you can get working on the center co-chair, supposedly, if you can work on the the weekly check-in, okay?
Yeah, sure.
And you want to choose more mandatory priorities. You don't really work on the mandatory priorities. The mandatory priorities are the priorities that you need to choose. All right. Great. Okay.
Yeah, I will choose and I will get some training on that.
Okay, cool. So so that sounds good. So me and Asif are going to talk just a little bit more, and then I got to get going as well. But thank you guys all. This was a really good session.
Okay, thank you guys. Bye.
Take care.
Okay, thank you guys. Bye.
Hey, and Asif, what was your number, Asif?
I was on 7.
7 as well. Okay, cool. We're all 7, 7, 7. All right. So the prerequisites. So once you get a new client and you want to hire some of the FQN workers, right? The last thing that we would want you to do is to basically, take FQN workers into Animaxination. That would be very odd unless it was subcontracted, right?
Okay.
Obviously, if a worker within FQN Community Network wants to leave and go work for Animaxination instead, I mean, we don't care, man. It's perfectly fine. But it would be like if someone was working for Animaxination, we would never want to go in and take your workers and have them work for us. That would just not be a good business relationship, if that makes sense.
Right.
So in the context of ideally, we're just working on a cooperative level where we're equals with UMBUS. And so if you want to do this, the prerequisites are right here. It's just you just let us know you want to do it. And then you just create the budget. The budget would go into UMBUS and through the FQN Community Network as an external or an internal organization. And then the only and this isn't really prerequisite, the only legal concern would simply be some type of what would you call it? It's a escrow. Or backing that ensures the workers get paid, right? So ideally that there would actually, and this is where the internal component comes in. Ideally there would be, like, the budget needs to exist. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah, so if we can get the budget existing, then we don't have to worry about whether or not the FCRN workers get paid because the money's already there. If the money's not there, then it creates that dilemma where, okay, if the workers are working and then the money's not coming in, you know, it's like that could be a legal problem. So ideally, there's some type of escrow or some type of like the budget comes ahead of time. You know, if the model of your business is that your business charges your clients afterwards, then you don't really have the ability to bring the money in before. So that's where you would create like a partnership or some type of collaborative company where we have a mutual stakeholding, a mutual interest. So if there cannot be a budget within UMBUS or a type of internal or external escrow, then the only other option would be some type of what would you call it, like a partnership or mutual stakeholding that would act as the collateral or, you know, basically a additional budget. So like, for example, we would put, you know, $500 aside in here, $300 to $500, that would be a mutual stakeholding budget. And then together this creates a partnership. And then that partnership would basically be more like a buffer. It would function as a buffer. And then the client from Animaxination pays after. And then the funds to UMBUS. Does that sort of make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Yeah, and this would take like, you know, I don't know, 10 to 30 minutes to set up. So it's just a matter of like letting us know you want to do it, and then we can just set it up, and then, you know, transfer the funds. I mean, if you're working with Bitcoin and other things like we do, I mean, it takes, Ethereum can transfer in like 5 to 10 minutes, you know, then boom, it's done. Or we could even create a mutually signed account, right? So then this creates an ability for us. Now we can spend, you know, $1,000 and only be risking, you know, 500, you know, 400 or you know, 500 to 600 plus a relationship. Right, so basically, when you create this buffer and you have a partnership or mutual stakeholding, if you don't come through and your client doesn't come through and we lose and you don't provide the money to back it, then you're losing a much more valuable relationship than the simple $1,000. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yes.
But ideally, you would just put the funds in into UMBUS. And if the funds are already in UMBUS, then you have equal access to UMBUS like anyone else does under the 3x policy. If you don't like the 3x policy, then we bring it up. Maybe we should make it 2.5x again. I'm more proposing that it goes up to 4x because it's just like there's so many costs and expenses. But either